September 5, 1877. Fallen Leader. Crazy Horse was an Oglala Lakota leader whose life embodied the struggle of his people to defend their homelands against the encroachment of the United States. He rose to prominence during the 1860s and 1870s as a military leader committed to preserving Lakota sovereignty and territory. His most famous victory came in June 1876 at the Battle of the Little Bighorn, where his leadership helped secure a significant defeat of George Armstrong Custer and the 7th Cavalry. That battle represented a high point of Native American resistance on the northern plains. Yet within a year, the momentum had shifted against the Lakota, and by the spring of 1877, Crazy Horse surrendered to U.S. forces at the Red Cloud Agency in Nebraska. The final chapter of Crazy Horse's life culminated on September 5, 1877, at Fort Robinson. Following rising tensions between the Lakota leader and Indian Agency officials, U.S. soldiers sought to place him under arrest. Accounts document that he had been promised a chance to meet with officers, yet upon arrival he was escorted toward the guardhouse. Recognizing the intent to confine him, he resisted. In the struggle that followed, a bayonet thrust struck him in the back. Dr. Valentine McGillicuddy, the Army surgeon on site, attended to the wound but could not save him. Crazy Horse died later that night, surrounded by relatives who had accompanied him to the post. His death ended the career of one of the most influential Native leaders of the 19th century. The historical significance of his death resides in both its immediate and long-term consequences. Immediately, his death signaled the collapse of organized Lakota resistance on the northern plains. Crazy Horse had been the last major Lakota leader capable of rallying warriors in significant numbers. His passing ensured that military campaigns against the United States would not continue at the same scale. For U.S. authorities, the removal of a formidable opponent cleared the way for consolidation of control over Lakota territories. Within a few years, the vast hunting grounds of the Lakota were absorbed into federal lands, and the tribe was constrained to reservations. The death of Crazy Horse also represented the broader pattern of Native leaders who fell during the era of the Indian Wars. Unlike some leaders who sought accommodation, Crazy Horse had remained resolute in defense of Lakota culture, declining to sign treaties that surrendered land. His death at Fort Robinson reflected the consequences faced by leaders who resisted assimilation policies and asserted independence. The event stood as a harsh reminder of the power imbalance between the United States government and Native nations. Eyewitness accounts preserved by soldiers and Lakota relatives provide details of that day. Captain James Kennington noted in his report that Crazy Horse was fatally wounded after attempting to break free from guards. Dr. McGillicuddy recorded in his medical notes that the chief's condition was beyond recovery despite efforts to ease his pain. By midnight, the Lakota leader had succumbed to his injuries. The following morning, his parents retrieved his body. They transported it away from the fort and later buried him in a secret location. The burial site remains undisclosed to this day, safeguarded by Lakota tradition. The broader historical meaning of his death extends into the memory of Native communities and the historical narrative of the United States. Crazy Horse became a symbol of defiance and courage, remembered for his refusal to adopt the ways of the invading culture and for his determined efforts to preserve Lakota freedom. His name continues to inspire commemoration through oral tradition, scholarship, and monuments. The circumstances of his death also illustrate the difficult and often violent transition period as Native peoples were forced into reservations and lost sovereign control over their lands. The event of September 5, 1877, was more than a tragic end to an individual leader. It marked the conclusion of a chapter in the struggle of the Lakota against U.S. expansion. The loss of Crazy Horse weakened resistance and strengthened federal efforts to enforce Indian policy across the Great Plains. The legacy of his leadership and his death endure as key elements in understanding the history of Native American resistance and the transformation of the American West in the late 19th century. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.